We'll continue to talk about World War II, Chapter 7. In the previous booklets, we have already explained the important reasons for World War II, and we will continue to talk about the major events leading to the World War II, the outbreak of the war, the cause of the war means some major developments during this 6 years, and also the wartime conferences, and the related post-war settlements, and finally the significance, that means the impacts brought by the Second World War. So we have some revision first on the background of World War II. We've learned a number of reasons, so let's try to explain these reasons or recall your memory in this way. So World War II, the outbreak of World War II. When we talk about the outbreak of World War II, we're asking you the reasons. What were the reasons related? How were they related to the outbreak of World War II? So we're firstly asking, what is the direct reason leading to the World War II? We generally talk about the rise of totalitarianism as the direct reason. Why? Because when we are talking about World War II, it means a number of aggressions from Nazi Germany and Fascist Italy and Japan. Well, these Nazi, Fascist, and the Japanese, they were all examples of totalitarian governments. There are a number of aggressions, such as the Abyssinian crisis in 1935 to 1936. 1938, March, was the annexation of Austria. In September, there was the Sudetenland in the Czechoslovakia being also occupied by Nazi Germany. So these are the direct things related to World War II. So when we talk about the direct reasons led to the outbreak of World War II, we always say it's a rise of totalitarianism, because there are totalitarian governments that they launch expansionist programs, and these expansionist programs eventually led to the outbreak of World War II. However, the rise of totalitarianism was actually led by two other reasons that are the result of World War I, and called the Paris Peace Settlements or Paris Peace Conference, and also the Great Depression in 1929. So the result of World War I, it created a problem, that is the discontent among countries, especially Italy and Germany, because for Italy they couldn't get the territorial rewards that they were being promised, Dalmatia and Fiume, while for Germany they were being heavily punished, such as the heavy reparation and also the disarmament, all the disarmament restrictions, and so on. So the countries, the people, they are dissatisfied with the democratic and the parliamentary government, and they wanted to take revenge. In fact, they want to get back what they deserve to have. Well, these kind of ideas gave a very, very good opportunity to the rise of totalitarianism, because they believed that this kind of new governments were helping them to get back what they deserve to have. Well, in the meantime, in 1929, there was the Great Depression, simply hampering the economy in Europe and also in the United States, while Germany was the one country that was most severely affected. In 1932, the German unemployment rate had rose to a unprecedentedly high level. There was over 6 million people being unemployed. Well, this created a fantastic situation for the totalitarianists, because then they can, by showing themselves as a strong leader that promised to solve all the economic problems, they became popular, and this is how Hitler became the leader of that country. So we have the reason number 2 and reason number 3 leading to the reason number 1, and we have also learned the 2 other reasons: the failure of collective security, and also the 5th reason, the appeasement policy. These reasons are a bit different from reason number 2 and reason number 3, because they are generally being considered as the things, as the methods trying to solve the problem at that time. Collective security, we have free pass, League of Nations, international agreements, and also the disarmament conference. They're trying to solve the problems brought by the aggressors. They saw that the aggressors was trying to expand, so they called for the disarmament conference and so on. Just that they all failed. And for the appeasement policy, it was mainly by Britain and France. It was actually being greatly affected by the Great Depression, because Britain and France then had to deal with their domestic problems because of the Great Depression. They're busy with their economic problems, so they adopted the appeasement policy by satisfying all Nazi Germany's ambitions. However, this is also proved to be a failure because the appeasement policy couldn't stop the aggressors. So in this whole map, we can see that the direct reason was number 1. However, there are 2 root causes, number 2 and number 3. They are the root causes that led to number 1, the direct reason. In the meantime, and these 2 root causes, they created a number of problems. These problems then led to the rise of totalitarianism. And in the meantime, reason number 4 and reason number 5 were methods trying to solve the problems created by reason number 2 and reason number 3. However, they all failed. And eventually, reason number 1 became an inevitable situation, and finally led to the outbreak of World War II. This is how we explain the whole thing. World War II is actually combined by a number of different reasons. These reasons, they're of different functions. So let's continue with the direct events leading to the outbreak of World War II, mainly happening in the year of 1939. So there are 3 important events: full occupation of Czechoslovakia from Germany, happening in March; the Pact of Steel between Germany and Italy in May; and also the most important one, we call it the Nazi-Soviet Non-Aggression Pact, 德蘇互不侵犯協定, in August. So there's the most important one that you can put a star on it. So let's talk about the first thing, the occupation of the whole Czechoslovakia in March. Remember the month here. So look at the map on your left hand side. You can see that it's actually showing the aggression of Germany starting from 1935 to 1939. So in here you can write down some of the important orders. But firstly, they started on this demilitarized zone of the Rhine, remilitarize it. And then secondly, by annexing Austria, Germany is now united with the Austria in 1938 March. And then the third step was to march into the so-called German people zone in the Czechoslovakia, the Sudetenland. They claimed that there were 3 million German people living in this area, so that they're actually going into this area to liberate this group of people. In September 1938, which led to the sign of Munich Agreement, where Britain and France promised to cede this part of Czechoslovakia to Germany to make sure that Germany would not take any further steps into Czechoslovakia. However, in the next year, March, Germany broke their promise by occupying the whole Czechoslovakia and installing a puppet state there. So Hitler broke his promise here. Now this is the moment that Britain and France realized that such appeasement policy was useless. Therefore, they put an end of this appeasement policy and start to reconsider their policy towards this kind of aggressions. Now, they've made some progress in terms of the armaments. For example, Britain reintroduced the conscription, 重新去 做返呢一個募兵。In the meantime, it also sped up its production of arms, starting to rebuild their forces. But in fact, they started to do this behavior before 1939. Chamberlain actually organized some of the reform in the armies and strengthening the forces, especially the air forces, the air defense system before 1939. But then in this year, they sped up the speed of doing such productions. But most importantly is in March 31st, Britain and France signed a pact with Poland, promising that they're going to give Poland full support when it was attacked by Germany. Because they're quite sure that Poland would be the next target of Germany. And they're guaranteeing that Poland would be totally full independence with their support to make sure that Germany or Poland would not fall into Germans' hands. So with this situation, Germany was pretty angry about British action because they thought that now Britain is trying to re-intervene into the European affairs, so that Germany was also actively looking for its ally, and he chose the fascist Italy, Mussolini. So he signed a pact of deal with Italy in May of 1939. So it's an official political and military alliance, 係一個政治軍事嘅同盟嚟嘅，係叫同盟。At that time, they also wanted to sign with Japan so that they can form a free country alliance. However, Japan eventually were not participating in this discussion. That left only Germany and Italy discussing on this cooperation, this official cooperation. Now this this pact of steel lasts for 10 years, and Germany and Italy agreed to support each other if war broke out. One very important article is that whenever there's one country, for example, Italy, wanted to surrender or wanted to make a peace deal with other countries, with its enemies, it would only be made with fully consent by other countries, with full agreement with each other. That means that if Italy was trying to surrender, let's say if Italy and Germany, they were having a war with Britain now, if Italy wanted to surrender, it has to firstly notify Germany about their intention of surrendering, and also Germany would have to be agreeing on this motion. That means if Germany disagree that Germany thinks that Italy shouldn't be surrendering, then Italy would also not able to actually do a kind of armistice or kind of peace treaty with Britain. Now this emphasizing that 即係一係就攬住一齊死咁解啦嚇。But the one that is actually making the most effect to the direct outbreak of World War II would then be the Nazi-Soviet Non-Aggression Pact in 1939. Nazi Germany and Soviet Union, they didn't really have a very good relationship because we all know that Nazi Germany was anti-communism, while USSR, after the 1911 revolution, the country turned into a communist country, and after the Civil War, it became under Stalin's control. So these two countries, they have been having a kind of conflict in terms of the ideology, while also Germany had been wanted to move eastwards. That USSR had always been thinking that they're threatened by the Germans. So the two countries who should actually be the rivals of each other, why they still cooperate in this Nazi-Soviet non-aggression pact, and have formed a And for the third one, the most important one, the Nazi-Soviet non-aggression pact, 德蘇互不侵犯協定, it was signed in August 1939. It was very obviously a kind of cooperation between the two countries, Nazi Germany and the Soviet Union. However, let's have some revision on the previous learned stuff. Nazi Germany, one of the features is that they're actually anti-communism. So, Soviet Union was a communist country at that time, because after 1917, then came the revolution, the February and October Revolution in Russia, and then Russia turned into a communist government led by Stalin, after the Civil War led by Stalin. And then, with these kind of situation at that time, Germany should not be cooperating with Russia because of ideological conflicts, which was quite serious because Nazi Germany was anti-communism, while Soviet Union was the first communist country ever in the mankind history. So what made them cooperate with each other? Let's look at some of the background information here. For USSR, firstly we'll talk about USSR. For USSR, actually at that time they've always been trying to work with other countries such as Britain and France, because USSR themselves were actually quite worried about Germany's attack, because they always thought that Germany's biggest enemy would be them, that means the communists and the Slavs, because in Hitler's racial theory, Slavic people were also kind of inferior people. So Germany had always had that kind of rivalry towards USSR. So USSR would then try to work with Britain and France. However, one very important thing is that they thought that there was always a kind of ideological difference between USSR and the Britons and France, because they thought that communists, the ultimate enemy, would always be the capitalist, while Britain and France were absolutely capitalist countries. So in every sense, they're always thinking that Britain and France is always trying to eliminate this group of communist people at the end. So in terms of the ideological difference, they didn't like working with Britain and France actually. Well, in the same time, in 1917, there was the Russian Civil War, fought between the White Army and Red Army. 俄羅斯喺1917年嘅10月革命之後，有一場俄羅斯嘅內戰啦，就係由白軍對紅軍啦。咁其實紅軍就係嗰啲共產布爾什維克啦，即係工人農民咁樣啦。白軍就係一堆軍階比較高嘅將軍、退休軍人啊，嗰啲比較中產高級少少嘅人士嚟嘅。So that is a civil war between the White Army and the Red Army, basically just like a internal war between the capitalists and the communists. While eventually the Red Army won, the communists they won and established the new Bolshevik government, 建立咗布爾什維克政權啦。But then during this civil war, actually there is a number of Allied intervention. There is a group of Allied powers that actually joined a force and to intervene into this civil war by lending assistance to the White Army. 其實盟軍當其時有英法等等嘅聯軍咧，組成咗一支盟軍部隊啦。咁去到呢一個場內戰裏邊咧，去援助白軍嘅。咁但係白軍就輸咗啦嚇。同時之間咧，喺呢一場內戰裏邊咧，除咗呢一堆嘅 Allied forces intervene into this war, there's also another group of forces, there's the German forces also intervene into this war. 德國同時都派咗一支軍隊入咗去幫白軍手啦。咁喺雖然有呢一堆軍隊嘅援助之下，白軍最後都係輸咗啦。 咁啊，但係呢場嘅內戰之後咧，貝什維克嘅政權一路都好擔心就係咧會再發生同一樣嘢。They're always worrying about that these kind of Allied interventions would eventually happen again. There's always a kind of sense of rivalry, a feeling of hatred from the Britain and France towards we the communist. 我覺得你英法啦，以至德國咧，對於尤其是係英法呢一對嘅盟軍啦，對於我哋蘇聯咧，永遠都有個敵意嘅。So with these two kind of reasons, USSR was worrying about the future would be like Britain and France, although they were being regarded as a kind of enemy with to the Nazi Germany at that time. However, if they had a common enemy, that is USSR, they would then cooperate and form a union and to fight against communism. So they are now worrying about this situation, so they have to select. Maybe we can try not work with Britain and France, maybe we can then try to work with Germany at this time. And this is one reason why they reconsider all this proposal. And also one more important thing, that is looking to the notes, because the signing of Munich Agreement in 1938. Before that, USSR still thought that in Britain and France we can kind of discuss. However, in this Munich Agreement, Munich Conference, they firstly didn't invite USSR, and secondly, this treaty was then giving a part of Czechoslovakia to Nazi Germany, which was basically a part in Eastern Europe, drawing Hitler closer to the Soviet Union. So Soviet Union had the feeling that Britain and France were actually trying to turn the Nazi expansion eastward. 即係蘇聯就覺得你英法聯軍呢堆人咧就立心不良，咁我就冇辦法再同英法合作㗎啦，咁樣佢覺得，所以咁不如我哋諗下同德國佬都 OK 嘅喎，咁樣啦。But in the meantime, Nazi Germany, although we say that they are anti-communist, but then they also have several considerations. Firstly, they're afraid of a two-front war. You still remember in World War I, Germany, after the declaration of war between Germany and France and Britain, we can actually see that Russia was helping the France, and Russia was also mobilizing their forces to help the Britain, France, Belgium, or And for the reason for Nazi Germany to sign this pact, as we mentioned that Nazi Germany should actually not be signing this pact because they're anti-communist, they had no reason to work with Russia. However, before every this kind of cooperation pact, country actually can have a lot of consideration, not just in terms of the political correctness， 唔單止嗰樣嘢係唔係政治正確啦，最重要就係睇嗰樣嘢本身有冇利益。This decision was actually Hitler or the Germans thought that it is quite beneficial and is providing a favorable warring environment for Germany. Firstly, in terms of the consideration of war strategy, such a cooperation with USSR could prevent Germany from having a two-front war. At that time, Germany, they were very afraid of having a two-front war between the German and the France and German and USSR. Because in World War I, as you still remember, Germany at the very beginning were already declaring war on Britain, France, and also USSR, because USSR was Russia at that time was actually having a secret cooperation with France, while Russia themselves were having full mobilization of their forces. So Germany would have to face both sides at the very beginning. This is an unfavorable situation which scattered Germany forces, and they wouldn't like the same things to happen again. So in this sense, they're now looking to either cooperate with France or cooperate with USSR. While France is actually sharing the same border with Germany, then why should they cooperate with France? Then let's turn to the USSR. In another reason is about the economic reason, because Germany, they realized that the economic self-sufficiency was impossible. They had to have some foreign trade with other countries. They have to have import from other countries, because only by relying on themselves, doing everything within the country is impossible. The economy can't be boosted. So that they are looking for an economic partner, while USSR appears to be a very perfect partner for them, because in USSR there are a lot of raw materials, they have a lot of oil reserves, they have a lot of resources, and they also have a lot of agricultural products with these broad territories, such as the Ukraine is a very very perfect place。烏克蘭本身就係一個有好多天然資源嘅地方，同時亦都係俄羅斯嘅主要糧食出產地。同時，即係例如你如果同蘇聯有合作嘅話，其實你可以確保到有一定數目嘅原材料同埋食物嘅供應啦。So this kind of benefits is going to help German when they are starting the war with Britain and France. So they believe that working with USSR is actually a fair deal. One more reason is that at that time, actually Britain was wanting to have a blockade on Germany at that time, because Britain facing the North Sea, 英國對出嘅北海啦，北海即係北歐嗰個海域，隔離就係挪威、瑞典呢啲國家啦。So Germany actually imports some of their resources from Sweden and Norway. If Britain is really having a blockade on this part of the North Sea, then Germany might not be able to receive this important imports or important raw materials from Norway and Sweden. Therefore, it had a bigger urge for Germany to look for some other stable suppliers for the important resources they needed. So, by having this consideration, making that Germany reconsider the proposal of working with USSR. So, the picture here, then you can see, this is Stalin, 史太林啦。Now this guy is Ribbentrop. He's the foreign minister of Nazi Germany, while Stalin is the leader of USSR. In fact, before signing this pact, Ribbentrop and his officials, the foreign ministry of the Nazi Germany, actually visited Russia, visited Moscow, went directly to Red Square and to meet Stalin. At that time, Stalin was told to be a kind of person that wouldn't really meet different kinds of representatives from other countries so easily. However, Stalin also realized that it could be a good deal, it could be a good business, so that in fact Stalin directly met a number of the foreign officials. But however, Hitler didn't really join in this discussion. All the things were mainly done by the foreign ministers of the two countries. So let's talk about the non-aggression pact. Before the non-aggression pact, we mentioned that USSR actually tried to cooperate with Britain and France, and in fact they had a discussion starting from April to August in 1939. They had a military negotiation trying to discuss on the Germans' aggressions. Now in this discussion, they were thinking that they're generally believing that Nazi Germany is now maybe having a great possibility on coming into Baltic states. Baltic states 波羅的海三國啦，佢哋覺得德國佢有機會用嚟緊佢要佔領嘅國家，除咗波蘭之外，就會係波羅的海 嘅呢幾個國家啦嚇。咁所以咧，波羅的海三國都包括立陶宛、拉脱維亞同埋呢個愛沙尼亞啦。咁就係波蘭對象嘅。係啦，咁so at that time USSR were actually having a concern, and they actually raised the concern by saying that when Nazi is crossing the borders into the Baltic states, it could lead to a great danger towards USSR, because then it was just like becoming a springboard for Nazi Germany to then jump over to the USSR. So USSR was demanding for a higher level of control in the Baltic states. However, Britain and France at the time, they thought that this is 即係你啲共產布爾什維克又喺度作怪啦，布爾什維克又想喺東歐奪權，咁咧，所以咧英國同法國咧係唔同意 USSR 話想去控制波羅的海三國嗰一個嘅提出嘅一個 suggestion。Britain and France thought that it was just an excuse for the USSR to further step into the Baltic states, so they rejected such demands from the USSR. USSR then finally realized that there's no room to cooperate with Britain and France, so why don't we just go directly to cooperate with Nazi? They're starting to look for some common ground, such as both of the ideas of anti-capitalism. But in fact, these two countries, after the signing of this pact, they actually had a lot of propagandas, because they know that they have been promoting, for example, Germany had been promoting how did they anti-communist, but then they are now cooperating with the Germans, so they actually spend quite a lot of human resources in making some minor changes on their political promotion. And we can look at also again this cartoon here. Someone is taking someone for a walk. Now this is a cartoon describing the Nazi-Soviet Non-Aggression Pact, but what is the cartoonist's attitude towards this cooperation? And it should be negative. It should be negative. Why? And we can look in this way. The upper half of the two leaders, this is Stalin, this is Hitler, by these mustache, and you can see. Okay, so Stalin and Hitler, for the upper part, it looks like they are friendly, but then for the bottom part of their body, firstly, the legs were being tied, so they were being actually forced to cooperate in some sense, and also they were holding guns in their hands, so they're actually describing a kind of relationship that this kind of cooperation was insincere. 各懷鬼胎啦，唔係真心嘅。好啦，咁我哋就去到呢個正文啦。Remember the date. The date is important. We will talk about it later. 8月23號簽署嘅呢個 Nazi-Soviet Non-Aggression Pact. There are some important ideas. Firstly, peace and friendship between the two countries. They're ensuring that two countries would not invade each other. And also, the treaty lasts for 10 years. And they're planning to ratify the treaty for after 10 years, and then making it every 5 years. And however, as we know that the war started in 1939, and then it ended in 1945. While the Germans broke the promise and invaded USSR in 1941, so actually it only lasted for 2 years. Okay, the peace and friendship only lasted for 2 years. Some of the articles were listed here. For example, it is saying that both parties will desist from any act of violence, 唔會侵佔對方啦嚇。or join you with other powers， 或者唔會同其他國家結盟去打，即係 A 唔會同其他國家去結盟去打 B 咁樣。 There shall in no manner lend its support to the third power when it is being become an object of this action of by third power。It means 即係如果蘇聯俾得納粹俾英國打啦，咁蘇聯咧就唔應該幫英國手咁樣啦。And also they have a continual contact and also to exchange information on problems affecting their common interest 嚇。資訊係流通嘅，兩個國家係有一定程度嘅合作嘅。咁另外就係其他嘅 treaty 就係同economy 有關嘅啦，例如提供經濟嘅合作咁樣。However, there is one very, very important secret treaty that they signed, that is about the secret division of Poland and also Baltic states 嚇。你喺度加翻落去，除咗係一個 secret division of Poland 暗地裏瓜分咗波蘭之外，佢暗地裏瓜分埋波羅的海三國嘅。咁你可以睇呢個 map on the left hand side， they in this Molotov-Ribbentrop by the way, because this track we mentioned that actually it involved no Hitler or Stalin in signing the track. Mainly the discussion was held by the foreign ministers. So Molotov was the foreign minister of Russia and Ribbentrop was the foreign minister of Germany. Molotov is the famous Molotov cocktail. Do you know what is Molotov? Molotov cocktail 莫洛托夫的雞尾酒，即係汽油彈啊！咁你可以 search 下點解汽油彈係用呢個蘇聯嘅外交部長命名啦。咁就係同當其時蘇聯同芬蘭嘅戰爭有關。咁冬天嘅時候咧，蘇聯就空襲芬蘭啦，咁啲蘇聯。咁啲芬蘭咧就話黐線嘅，就話跟住蘇聯嘅外交部長莫洛托夫先出嚟講話，呢啲唔係空襲嚟嘅，我哋呢啲係掉一啲麵包落去咁樣啦。跟住蘇聯就跟住啲芬蘭佬就黐線㗎，咁都講得出嘅。咁佢哋就開始咧make fun of this guy。咁當其時有啲汽油彈啦，咁汽油彈就唔係芬蘭人發明嘅，不過。咁佢哋掉啲汽油彈嘅時候咧，佢哋就話：呢啲咪真係 cocktail 咁啫嘛，真係 make fun of Molotov saying in previous speech 因為佢之前提過話佢嗰啲唔係空襲啊，掉話啲麵包落嚟咁啫嘛。咁所以就話我呢啲都唔係汽油彈，我呢啲 cocktail 嚟啫嘛。所以咧汽油彈就叫 Molotov cocktail 啦。係啦，咁所以咧。唔記得咗嗰邊。咁左邊呢個 map 咧就係佢哋本身嘅協議啦。They originally decided that the eastern part of Poland would be under German's control, western part of Poland would be under Soviet Union's control, while the Baltic states, there are the three Baltic states, Lithuania、立陶宛咧都會歸德國，愛沙尼亞同拉脱維亞咧就歸蘇聯。但係最後咧去到the actual situation then here we can see in 1939 and 1940 after the World War II broke out, in fact Lithuania 有冇睇到咧？其實立陶宛咧都俾蘇聯控制埋，波羅的海三國俾晒蘇聯控制。Okay, so that by secretly dividing Poland and Baltic states, and also Germany thought that 即係你蘇聯都已經攞晒着數啦，咁佢就唔會再阻止德國向波蘭前進嘅計劃啦。By giving this kind of benefits to Soviet Union, Germany thought that now their expansion to Poland would not be threatened by Soviet intervention。嗰啲蘇聯已經攞咗半個波蘭啊嘛，已經攞咗一笪地，咁佢就喺德國向波蘭前進嘅時候就唔會再出啲咩手腳干飯啦，唔會喺度嗌支嗌咗啦咁啊，德國就可以暫時對翻西歐嗰邊先咁樣。In the meantime, USSR also believed that now their borders had been pushed westwards， 喺蘇聯嘅角度，佢哋嘅波打向西推進咗啦，向咗波羅的海嗰邊拉闊咗啦。So that they can have more time at this moment to strengthen their defence。係啦，咁呢個就係嗰個 protocol 嘅俄文版啦，係俄文版，俄文我都睇唔係好明，我係睇唔明嘅嚇。咁嗰啲 treaty 都係嗰幾係啦。咁呢個 secret protocol 咧，咁呢個 secret protocol 咧就係俄文啦。咁咧我都唔識俄文，不過咧我又睇咗啲翻譯版啦。咁所以咧，佢其實咧有幾個重點字眼，咁就係例如呢度咧，佢講到咧，佢哋係有一個on the question of the sphere of influence in Eastern Europe 啊，呢句嚟講緊話，佢哋呢個 protocol 係同佢哋嘅東歐嘅勢力範圍係有關嘅 on the boundary。咁跟住咧，咁有4個。主要有4個 issue 啦，咁第一個咧就係 issue 講緊the areas, the territorial and political arrangements of Baltic states。咁呢度咧就係嗰4個波羅的海嘅國家名Finland、Estonia、Latvia 同 Lithuania。咁呢4個應該分一半俾德國，分另一半俾蘇聯啦。咁第二個 treaty 咧就係講緊係 Poland 嘅，咁 Poland 嘅話咧就應該又係同時一半俾德國，一半俾蘇聯 according to the boundary of the narrow Vistula and San。咁第三個 treaty 第三個部分咧就係講緊話同時攞埋一個羅馬尼亞嘅一個屬地，係啦。咁最後呢個 treaty 其實就係講話 the protocol shall be treated by both parties as strictly secret。咁所以喺呢一個 Nazi-Soviet Non-Aggression Pact 簽完之後咧，咁就被報導啦。但係被報導嘅時候咧，係冇提過有呢個 secret protocol 嘅。大家都以為係淨係得面頭嗰陣就係 non-aggression 同埋 economic cooperation 嘅啫。咁冇人知道呢條 treaty 喺8月23號嘅呢條 treaty 咧，係包括埋瓜分波羅的海同波蘭嘅呢個領土啦。咁所以我哋講一開頭我哋講話呢一個日子8月23號點解咁重要 ？If you still remember last summer August 23rd, do you have any impression of what kind of activities happened at that night？ 嗰一晚發生咗咩事咧？8月23號喺香港講香港。舊年嘅8月23號夜晚咧，就有一個叫做活動，嗰個活動咧叫做 Human Chain 人鏈啊嘛。人鏈呢個活動咧，起源係點嚟嘅咧？就係呢個日子嚟。呢個人鏈嘅活動咧本身係1989年8月23號，由波羅的海3國立陶宛、拉脫維亞同埋愛沙尼亞3個國家嘅人民跨越佢哋嘅國界去組成人鏈啦。宣揚一樣咩信息咧？就係反抗蘇聯嘅信息。點解我哋揀呢個日子咧？因為in the eyes of these Baltic people, they actually thought that the August 23rd was the day of betrayal， 被背叛嘅日子。佢哋喺完全唔知道嘅情況之下，被瓜分咗佢哋嘅土地。By Nazi Germany and the Soviet Union at that time, simply by considering these big powers' interests, but neglecting that there are other peoples living in Baltic states and living in Poland, also having the important spirit that is about the self-determination, completely ignoring these human rights of this group of peoples. So they selected 23rd August in 1989 as the day of protest。特意選擇咗呢一日啦，而1989年咧就係東歐劇變嘅嗰一年啦嚇，即係東歐發生咗一連串嘅推翻共產政府嘅政權嘅事件之後啦，咁見住呢一個潮流，佢哋都覺得呢一個係反蘇聯嘅最好時機啊。In fact, during the whole Cold War period of time in Lithuania and Estonia, these Baltic states had been Now, after World War II, they become a part of USSR。呢3個國家後來係成為咗蘇聯嘅一部分啦。喺冷戰嘅時候都係蘇聯嘅一部分啦，但係冷戰期間不斷其實呢3個國家都做好多嘢，即係暗地裏嘅反政府運動、反共產、反蘇共嘅一啲運動，不過都被鎮壓啦。咁當其時佢哋比較小國啦，屬於冇辦法做到真正嘅成功嘅革命啦。直至去到1989年，1989年係個世界嘅潮流去倒台啦，共產黨終於咁，所以咧佢組成咗呢一個人鏈啦，就係去宣揚呢一個反蘇聯嘅信息啦。咁所以到而家呢一個日子，其實都仲好影響到而家嘅人，因為例如香港嘅唔單止講香港啦嚇，其實世界各地嘅群眾活動都會有好多都係用翻一啲歷史上有意義嘅日子嚟嘅。咁而呢一日就係因為簽署咗呢一條 Nazi-Soviet Non-Aggression Pact 裏邊嘅其中一個重要條款，就係瓜分咗波羅的海三國，導致波羅的海三國嘅人民被出賣、被背叛。咁所以佢哋覺得永遠記住呢一日咯，佢哋永遠記住呢一日。OK， 咁咧時間就嚟到仲有page 4啦。我哋講埋呢一個係嗰個漫畫喺 page 4度出嚟，唔記得咗同大家講。咁你可以寫翻低嗰個 message 喺嗰個漫畫度啊 refer 翻。Okay, so we talked about the 3 important events leading to the outbreak of World War II in 1939, and we talked about the direct event, that is the invasion of Poland on that day that you should all remember, the very, very easily remember day, that is the September 1st, okay? So we mentioned in March 31st, Britain extended this guarantee to Poland. That means they're promising that I'm going to guarantee your safety, your independence, and the fact that you will not be attacked by Germany with our protection. 即係英國應承咗啦，佢會做呢一個保護波蘭嘅，咁令到希特拉非常不滿啦，覺得英國係喺度想搞緊衛星國嘅一種諗法。So Hitler was dissatisfied with British action, and he demanded the thing that a Polish corridor should be abolished. Polish corridor 就係我哋講過喺 World War I 之後將東普魯士同埋德國分開咗嘅呢一個波蘭嘅領域啦。Yes, Hitler wanted to recombine the Germany and the East Prussia. So he demanded that a Polish corridor should be abolished in another city. The Danzigia should be a free city after World War I. Should be returned to Germany also. With these demands, he would continue to making demands to Britain because he didn't really wanted to start a war with Britain. 希特拉從各種情況上雖然唔中意英國，但係佢暫時都唔係真係好想同英國開戰嘅。去到後期其實都係佢一路都係想揾英國議和嘅啫嘛。But then, at this moment, Chamberlain being pressured by all his members and also the people, and they refused to agree with Hitler's demand this time, and officially signing a military alliance with Poland in August 25th. 喺戰爭開始前嘅一個星期，喺8月25號咧，正式簽署咗呢一個軍事同盟啦。So Hitler then know that the war is beginning now. So in September 1st, Hitler invaded Poland. Britain and France sent an ultimatum 2 days later. However, Hitler ignored this ultimatum and eventually declared war on Germany. Okay. 咁重點就係英國 send 咗個最後通牒俾佢啦，咁冇俾人理會到嘅情況之下咧，最後咧就 德國宣戰，咁啊開始咗我哋嘅World War Two。